My name's Tana Anderson, and I met Bruce about 8 years ago. I lived down in Ephraim, and he had a house in Manti. He came to my door for our first date, and we were immediate friends, and I've enjoyed his friendship ever since. And I've been thinking a lot about this since he passed away. The first thing that I remember when he came to the house was he was such a gentleman. He was really easy to talk to. From not knowing him at all, we hadn't talked on the phone or anything. He came and we just enjoyed chatting with each other. We had a lot of the same experiences in life. We had a lot of the same, we were close to the same age. And the thing I was the most impressed with him the first night I met him was that he so loved and cared about his children. And he talked about them and talked about the worries he had and the concerns and the things that he really enjoyed about. And we talked about that. He was a very spiritual person. And we were both, like I said, at the same place in certain things that we were understanding and learning about. And that night, he asked me what my relationship was like with Jesus. I'm going, well. I was really impressed because that's usually not what somebody asks you on the first date. Enjoyed that kind of spiritual banter. We read things together. We called each other with ideas that we'd had. He was so generous. Financially, he saved me from a month of I didn't know what was going to happen, and he bought a picture that I had made. I was like, you are so sweet. He had lots of girlfriends. I couldn't keep track of them. I would always call them Bruce's girls, and I would laugh. Always concerned about his children, always concerned about other people, very generous. Just a really kind, good man that I was really fortunate enough to have as a friend. And I don't miss him because I know he's not gone anywhere. And we would talk about that. If you go first, we're talking. And he'd say, if you go first, we're talking. And neither one of us thought we were going anywhere. But I got to visit with him a couple weeks before he passed away. And we said the same thing. I go, if you're gone before I do, after you get settled in, we're chatting. So I'm looking forward to that from him. And I just want to tell his children how fortunate they are to have good parents. That's a really nice legacy to leave. I'll ask him how things are on the other side, if they're like, because he's had experiences and we would read about what it might be like, and I'll ask him how it was, what his particular thing was. I'll ask him if he has a particular message for me, and I know he'll tell me it's about love and forgiveness, but I'll ask him anyway. And just kind of how he's doing. I know he's going to be busy and he's going to be excited, and I hope there's wine on the other side, because he was always quite a connoisseur of a glass of wine, and I just count myself as blessed to have been able to meet him when I did.
Griffin.
It's your cousin's grandpa, huh?
I love you, Grandpa Bruce.
So I'm Caroline.
And I'm Blair Morris. We have known Bruce for over 40 years, Bruce and Michelle, and the family. And
we're members of the Dinner Club. The famous dinner club that Bruce founded. He's kind of the father of the Dinner Club. So we owe good and bad to Bruce. No, it was a wonderful experience getting to know all of them through Bruce, and such. We have awesome memories.
Wonderful memories
of Bruce and the Hansens and Baches and the Hackett's and Whitings and Morrises and Holtz.
Well, with Bruce, beside the Dinner Club, years ago, I tried to get out of the lighting business. And Bruce called me and said, Blair, let's get back together and start a company, which we did, and bought another company, and we ended up back in the lighting business and been in that for years and years. So I owe that to Bruce. That's been probably 35, 40 years ago. And been that close to Bruce, traveled all over with Bruce. Our Dinner Club, we were just reminiscing about the Holiday Inn and taking all our kids there in St. George during Christmas and New Year's every year, and just wonderful memories that we had.
Also Lake Powell.
Lake Powell.
You can't think of Lake Powell without thinking about the Dinner Club, because we would go down every June and rent a houseboat and just have so much fun. And one year, maybe someone already shared that Bruce had finagled a way to get down this big, huge water weenie, what were they called?
I guess.
And so they pulled that out, came around, we were all swimming and around the bend with the jet ski and pulling this water weenie on the back, and they had this, so we had so much fun on there. But my memory of the water weenie is that when we fell off at one time, my wedding ring got ripped off my hand and sank to the bottom of Lake Powell. And so I was without a wedding ring for many, many years. About 2 years ago, we finally replaced that. So anyway.
That we love him. That we
Yeah,
love him.
what a true,
Good friend.
loyal, good
Yeah.
friend
That we love
Bruce
him.
is and was.
Love him dearly.
Aaron Darrell Hansen.
Krista Hansen. I'm
Hi.
a daughter-in-law.
I'm his son. Yeah, I think a lot of my memories growing up is when I would come home late from hanging out with friends, and I'd always have to check in with my parents, let them know I'm home, and my dad, without fail, was just draped in paper towels, eating a plate of nachos with cottage cheese, watching the X-Files, The Simpsons, La Femme Nikita, I think, was another one, and it was always fun to just come and see him like that, and we'd chat for a couple minutes before we go to bed. That happened a lot.
The one thing that I remember most about Bruce is he'd always call me Crid. That's my nickname. I don't think he ever called me Krista. It was always, oh, hey, Crid, and he'd give me a big hug, and he always made me feel so loved. I remember I had gone on a motorcycle ride with them, and I was on the back of Aaron's little bike, and I was so uncomfortable, and we had done a little pit stop, and he said, hey, Crid, come get on the back of my bike. And I got on the back of the bike with him, and I just remember feeling so safe and comfortable with him, and he just always made me feel loved and safe and comfortable.
I would tell him to keep the shiny side up.
And I would tell him that I love him.
My name is Kelly Bruce Hansen, and I am Bruce's son. My dad was a great listener, and there was a time where I had some big life questions that I was working through, and I spent a lot of time thinking. And one night I went and approached my dad, and sure enough, he listened to everything I had to say and added some great perspective like he always did. He was a very introspective man himself and always had great insight and great advice. You know, I would just tell him thank you, and that we had a lot of fun, and I would just tell him I love you.
My whole name is Sophia Hansen, and how I know Bruce is he's my grandpa, and it's my dad's dad. He used to come over to our house and on his motorcycle and watch Ariel with us. That I loved him.
My name is Morris Tanner. I know Bruce in a lot of ways. I married his younger sister. I know his family. But I first knew Bruce in 1972 when he was sent to me as a missionary companion. I was district leader, and he was sent to me I was his second companion in Scotland back in 1972. As we began to get acquainted, oh my goodness, I knew that this was a different companion. He was wonderful. You have all kinds of companions as a missionary, and it just seemed like everything we did, we just pushed each other's buttons. We enjoyed being together. We could finish each other's sentences, and as we taught the gospel of Jesus Christ, Bruce had such a dynamic testimony and so deeply spiritual, and I love that about Bruce. He was such a caring person. He had the capacity to bring out the best in everybody. He was engaging, and if you didn't know what to say or how to say it, Bruce could make you feel relaxed and feel like you were important to him. I'm not sure how he did it, but I think it was a gift, and I've seen that gift. He was so successful as a salesman in later years because of that gift, and I think it's a natural gift for Bruce. He knew how to make his friends feel good, and strangers, he could bring them in a nanosecond just by that twinkle in his eye and that little kind of half-cocked gesture, it's hard to explain right now, but he had that kind of impact on converts as we taught the gospel those many years ago in a different venue. What stands out to me the most about Bruce, over and above our times as missionaries, and impression about how he talked about his family. I came from a large family, but we weren't that close. There was issues there. And Bruce, when he talked about his family, his brother and his mom and dad, he loved his family so much. I had never, ever in my life felt that kind of love from a missionary. He was very lonely. He missed these people. And he begged me, as I left my mission a year before he did, and he just begged me. I was on my way back to Boise. I'm from Boise, Idaho. And he just begged me to go by and see his family. He says, Sherry will be there. That was his girlfriend. And I went to see Bruce with a sister-in-law, my brother's wife, whom I had never met before my mission. So we were strangers, and now we're going up to see Bruce's family, who I knew about through his conversations. I will never forget his mother. She came so close to me, just inches away. And she says, Morris, you talked to Bruce yesterday? She just couldn't believe that I was so close to Bruce in time. And it really touched me that there was such a deep feeling of love between these people. But the living room was full. His girlfriend was there. This cute little blonde was sitting over on the fireplace, and I just kind of out of the corner of my eye, boy, she's pretty cute. And you know, his brother was there, and they were all there. There must have been 20, 30 people. And they all wanted to hear about Bruce. And what a good feeling to have someone that loved you that much. And it made such an impression on me. I married his sister. I've had a happy life. And we've been close. He's a wonderful friend. Were it not for Bruce Hansen, I would not be in this chair right now. I would not have even known Christy. We've had 4 wonderful children. We've had such a happy life together. And it was because of Bruce. His impression on me and his love for his family. And it has blessed our lives forever. If I could say something to Bruce right now, I would look him right in the eye and say, Bruce, I love you more than I could ever put into words. And what you have done for me those early days, long, long ago, as a teenager, has changed my life. And I see the effect that you've had on so many people in your business. Your success and your own children and your grandchildren inspires me. It's wonderful to think about you being reunited with Greg and Wilma Dollar once again. What a wonderful reunion that must be. You've got all the answers now. We've talked about those questions, but you've got all the answers now. I will have them soon. And I love you.
I'm Kelly Hansen. How I like Grandpa, and he comes over and watches the never-ending story with us. But he helped me learn how to drive the Ray, then I drive it all by myself. That I love you.
I'm Melissa Hansen. Bruce is my father-in-law. So I have a few memories of Bruce. One of them was when, right the weekend, Kelly and I got engaged. We went down to Manti and we went on a 4-wheeler ride, which I hadn't really been on 4-wheelers. And they talked me into going up this really steep hill, and Bruce helped calm me down to go up the hill and made it. And then I remember after we got engaged, they had some flowers for us. Dancing at our wedding was really fun. It was really sweet. He would volunteer to come do movie nights with my kids and come over. They would wait by the couch and wait for the motorcycle to show up. They loved that. And of course his cooking. I did not eat spicy food at all before Kelly and I got married, so he introduced me to that, and I actually like spicy food now. Of course, Halloween, chili nights, we'll miss those a lot. Though luckily Kelly has the recipe, so we can we can do those again. Bruce, I love you and I miss you, and we'll always be thinking of you, and I hope you're peaceful and enjoying your time with your mom and dad, and we love you.
Carter Timothy Watson. He is my mom's uncle, and so that makes him my great uncle. The only memory I have of him is because this is one of the only times I've actually been with him and I've remembered it. Grandma Hansen's funeral. We were at the park and he came up and he gave me my brothers a ride in his Indian motorcycle. I would ask him if he could come on one last ride with me and my brothers on our dirt bikes.
We're Blair and Linda Whiting, and we're also members of the dinner club. That's how we know Bruce. We met through the couple that just talked, Mike and Kathy Bates.
That's basically it right there. I know Bruce through the dinner club, and I've been knowing him for 21 years, which is how long I've been married to Linda. So.
I have so many memories of Bruce, it's hard to say, but Kathy mentioned the trips that we went on, and the trips down to the sand dunes or Lake Powell, whenever we went out, if I went over one hill, I probably couldn't find my way back. Bruce could wander through the desert for hours and find his way right back. And as long as you were following Bruce, you were okay. Was a motorhead. He was kind of an anomaly in the dinner club because he did not like to play cards, and we all love to play cards, and he did not really enjoy golfing because there wasn't any speed there, you know. So if he was in the golf cart and he could ride it fast, he was happy. A few times on the golf course. I always felt safe when Bruce was in the group because I thought, well, if something breaks, Bruce can fix it. And he was just real funny. He made me laugh a lot, and he made all of the girls in the dinner club just feel loved, and it was always such a good time getting together with the dinner club or with just any of the couples together. But I'm going to miss Bruce terribly. Just, you know, I loved him a lot.
Well, Bruce will always have a special place in my heart. The main reason is because when I proposed to Linda, part of the criteria for her accepting the proposal was that I was accepted into the dinner club. And I didn't know it at that time, but that's a pretty much of a feat right there, just being accepted into the dinner club. So, and Bruce was a member of the dinner club approval committee, if you would, and I met with him the first time I ever met with him, and we went to dinner together, and I still remember I had to catch a plane right after dinner that night. It was a late flight, and so I had to leave early after they'd put me through the interview, and it was quite an intricate interview.
It was a comical interview.
Yeah, but anyway, and I still remember I didn't know for sure if I was going to get married or not until the next morning because I had to get on the plane, and I didn't know if I was accepted in the dinner club until the next day. So I still didn't know if I was going to be able to marry Linda until the next day after the dinner club meeting. So anyway, but I appreciate Bruce very much for him accepting me into the dinner club and being a friend all these years. I've always been and always was very impressed with his intellect and how well read he is and was.
It was always nice to know you could ask Bruce a question, he'd probably have an answer for you.
Yeah.
The right answer. I would say I sure wish that you were still here with us, and it's not meant to be, and I'm really going to miss you, but I'm going to see you again. So
I would have to say, Bruce, that my life, I'm a better person for having known Bruce through my years.
Me too.
I'm Abby Hansen.
I'm Ella Hansen.
And Bruce is our grandpa. The thing that I remember from my childhood is going to Saturday night movies with him. Just every new movie we would always expect to go see it with grandpa. That was a big part of my childhood.
Hawaii.
Yeah, going to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Did you do anything fun with him there?
Yeah, scuba dived with him. Well, no, actually.
Snorkel?
Yeah.
Snorkel. I remember Manti.
Yeah, the Manti house, definitely.
I would probably say that I'm so happy for him that he doesn't have any of these complications with his body.
Same.
Yeah. Just happy for him.
Love you. Love you.
Love you, Grandpa.
I'm Mike Bache, and this is my wife Kathy, and I've known Bruce for 60 years, since kindergarten.
We were in the dinner club. We call him the founder of our dinner club. Brought a lot of his friends together, and
We just traveled and had such fun times over the years, going to the sand dunes in California and dinners every week, and it was just such a fun time. We just have wonderful memories together. Music nights, football games, it was great.
All of those things for sure, and then I have a lifetime of memories with Bruce, and he taught me a lot. He was a very wise and loving friend. He was forever my buddy.
Thanks for the memories. He was a wonderful friend. He was so thoughtful and kind. And he always got us thinking and having wonderful conversations, just real thought-provoking conversations. And he was well-read. He just had so much knowledge of so many things. We're just going to really, really miss Bruce. Really miss him.
I look forward to seeing him again.
Heidi Hansen.
Gavin Aaron Hansen. When we went to Hawaii.
We went snorkeling. We saw lots of sea turtles. I love you, Grandpa.
Shauna Hansen Watson, and he is my uncle. Yes, I have lots of memories of Bruce. He lived so near us that we have a lot of memories. So I have a lot of snippets because there was just a lot of interaction on a not day-to-day basis, but on a regular basis. So I can remember driving around in the, I don't even know what color that was, the gold Ford, orange-ish, goldish Ford, and him blasting Paul Simon music really loud and going to 7-Eleven. He taught me to put the pit, the avocado seed in the guacamole. He got to teach me his clam dip recipe because him and my dad always had a war of whose clam dip was better, but I didn't get a chance to ask my dad how he made his, so Bruce got to have his recipes now, the family recipe, so I guess he wins. Bruce was a teacher. Like I can remember lots of lessons, I think he liked to teach the things that he had learned, and I was grateful for that. I would say thank you for taking the time and the effort to make us feel like we mattered to you. That you would stop in Cedar, you go out of your way, you were on the road. If we were at Grandma's, you would come and just do fireworks with my family and Grandma and Grandpa. You were just happy to be with us, and so thank you.
April Hansen Hall, and Bruce is my uncle. So I just remember him, we'd be at my Grandma and Grandpa's house, and he'd come in, and he'd act so excited to see me, so happy, and he'd put his arm around me, and he'd say, April, of all my nieces, you're one of them. And I was just like, so, like he's gonna tell me I'm his favorite, and then, oh, I'm just one of them. But then that's okay, it made me laugh. I'd also say, on a more serious note, one of my best memories of Bruce was, I was at a time in my life where terrible turmoil, decisions, I was really, really struggling. Could not figure some things out, and my dad had died, and I didn't really have any men in my life, and so I thought, I'm gonna ask Bruce for a blessing. At a time I needed him, such a strong spiritual person, that blessing that he gave me just turned my life to the direction it needed to go, and gave me some very much needed guidance and direction, and I still think about that blessing on a regular basis, how it helped me to where my life is right now. Some pretty huge things, so it was neat. I would tell him thanks for just various different parts of my life, being there when I needed him, and being a man in a father role of our life at times, and a very happy spot in my memory. Bruce always made you laugh.
Awesome.
And taking me three-wheeling.
Yeah, my name is Daniel Winters. I assist Philip Hansen, which is Bruce's oldest son. So I've been very close to the family for the last 6 years. Yeah, I've got a couple with Bruce. Obviously, Bruce was a huge lover of the outdoors, and he embraced that in a few ways: off-roading, ATVing, motorcycles. And one of the spots he liked to do that in was down in the LaSalle Mountains, down around Manti. In fact, every few years at the start of my relationship with Phil, we'd go down to Manti for every July 4th and have a big party, big celebration. And I remember Bruce was always a very laid-back, low-key individual. Would never push advice on you, but always, if he gave you advice, it's something you should probably listen to. And I remember we were lighting a fire down in Manti, massive, huge bonfire. I mean, probably about 10 feet high, 10 feet wide. And he was like, okay, I'm gonna pour the gasoline on there, Daniel. I'm gonna pour the gas on, then you light it real quick. I did not listen to him. So he pours it on, I wait like 30 seconds, I light this bonfire, completely engulfed in flames. I burn off all the hair on the right side of my body. And at that point, I'm like, I need to probably start listening to Bruce. A couple years later, we were riding and we saw some wildlife at the side of the street. And he was like, if this ever happens, if anything ever runs in front of you, it's like, don't steer away, don't hit the brakes, just keep going. I'm like, okay, he's giving me advice, I should probably listen. Actually, a couple of weeks after he gave me that advice, we were out in the desert, we've been riding, we've been shooting, and I'm riding along and I hit the crest of a hill and a deer runs right in front of me. And I hear Bruce say, don't stop, don't swerve, just keep going. And that's exactly what I did. And I could have died that day. Seriously could have gone down, but just kept going straight, went straight through the deer, stopped about 100 yards down the road, shaking. And I'm like, thank God for Bruce. And then a little less intense was Bruce's passion for nachos. Yeah, so we're serving nachos today at the celebration. A couple of weeks ago we were at a movie and he fell asleep and I kept back, looking over and checking on him because, I just want to make sure, is Bruce okay? Is he doing okay? And I'm watching him, he's fully asleep. The movie suddenly ends, credits start to roll. I see Bruce come around, looks down in his lap and sees this little bowl of nachos and there's one little nacho and one little bit of cheese and he just smiles. He just dips it in and eats and then falls back to sleep for a second. Anyway, that's my memory of Bruce. I would have said, oh man, give me a second. Okay, so if I had one more thing to say, I would have said, you always took way too long on our rides. You should have taken longer on this one. You can cut that out.
Oh, perfect. Wait, come back. Okay, one more time. Okay, wait, we gotta wait just one minute.